Hi everyone, this is Gayatri. I have been working on an agent for our marketing function. It started out with a real pain point. I showed it to a few peers and they suggested that I record a quick video and maybe it will resonate with someone here. Now, something that most of us can relate to is ad hoc requests. Now, especially in the context of marketing, this can look like somebody needs a quick landing page, a deck, a customer story, a small PDF, a byte they can use in their outreach emails, so on and so forth. Now, of course, these things might sound small, but when they come at the wrong time and they break your flow, that is something you really want to avoid, right? Um, my specific use case that I wanted to start out with solving was customer stories in this scenario. I had them spread across our resources in all kinds of formats, transcripts, one page PDFs, some long format blogs. And as you may know, if you work with the customer stories, they can be framed in many ways. Now, of course, a side note, we did have all the permissions to distribute them. And now, when I mean formats or framing of the story, it could be like the same story can be talked about with a focus on the use case that was solved or the specific team that was facing this issue or the team that was trying to solve this the industry this particular client was in, and based on how the team wants to use this story, it can be a complete slide deck or like a couple of slides, sorry, a few lines that can go in an outreach email, and so on and so forth, right? You can highlight the use case or the integrations or the teams involved. And often this is what I was noticing, that the team would ask for a new angle, or even I would want to use it but not have something ready in hand. So now, of course, it also meant that explaining the story to someone or rewriting it myself would interrupt whatever I was doing. I did try out ChatGPT, but what I was experiencing was it was losing the context from prompt to prompt and mixing up stories from one customer to another. That was a big red flag. So completely scrapped off. I quickly moved on to Notebook LLM as well. And there I did see some improvements. It was understanding the transcripts specifically a lot better and be able to put it into context. But then again, after a couple of prompts, I realized that it was again mixing up stories. Uh, I did a lot of trial and error here, experimented by sharing only two stories in the resources, uh, reduced from, let's say, 10 to 2 or something like that. And I was just hitting the same roadblock time and time again. I wanted this solution to reach to a stage where the agent does not experience any kind of hallucination, there is no overlap of stories. And most importantly, it can give me something that's ready to copy paste into a whatever format the story needs to go in. So now, of course, with the advantage of having access to DronaHQ's agentic platform, right as I was experiencing this particular pain point, I decided to build my own customer story agent, a kind of story agent as I'm calling it. So let me just show you what the agent looks like before I explain how quickly I was able to build it. So what you're seeing on the screen is actually the configuration panel, the agent builder itself. I'll just maybe whip up the another copy here. Let's start a new one. I'll open a new thread. So what I'm displaying right now is just the playground and not the published version. We can see that as well. But for context here, let me give it a prompt. I mentioned a customer name and the kind of format I want this agent to create the story for me. Let's see. So here I can see the agent trying to assess my query, understanding what it needs to do. It's also trying to fill in the gaps with the details that are missing in my query and identifying the next steps that it needs to perform, where it needs to go and look up the resources and the information from. I have given it a lot of training in terms of how it figures out the industry, the geography, the market segment, etc., the persona, the individuals involved in that story, how it needs to bring that in the bite that it creates. Mm, let's just scroll down a little further. I'll minimize this. Here is the plan that it has generated, the knowledge bases or the resources that it searched to get me the data. Here it is, the first thing that I'd asked for. So I've got a 150 word block. What I love here is that it has really beautifully condensed the story just as I would have myself. And let me scroll a bit further. I did ask it for 4 bullet points. I've got that as well. And then since it has access to different formats, as I had mentioned, so there's like blogs, one page PDFs, and most importantly, transcripts. So it has gone through the transcript as well to give me certain quote options if I want to put them across as testimonials. That's great. And I've got a couple of links as well if I want to share this story. This it only does when it has the option to public links that can be shared. Um, Finally, it is asking me if I would like this as a slide, so I'm gonna say yes to that. Now let me show you what went behind building it, and it's just so quick and straightforward that you really need to see this. Everything happened in one place, as I mentioned, inside the agentic platform. So I started out with the instructions. I had the core concept in mind, how I wanted the agent to perform. I kind of narrated everything into ChatGPT and had it create the instruction set in a well formatted way. So if I need to go fine tune it, tweak it a bit in the future, it's really simple for me. I did that. I pasted it into instructions. And the next thing was, of course, selecting the LLM model this agent will work with. And ChatGPT 5 worked beautifully. Then, of course, the meat to this agent was the resources. So, in my case, as I had mentioned, I had it in a couple of formats, was some URLs, some web pages, blogs, then text or doc files, and then finally certain Google Docs as well. So for the same, what I did was I shared some of the elements in the format of knowledge base that the agent can refer to. So here we've got all the blogs that are already up on the website, but now the agent can access it in a more streamlined fashion, in addition to some text files as well. And if I need, I can always go back and add some more. Then back here, what I also added was a Google Doc. A single doc access only was shared here because I had some stories that were drafted in a longer format in my docs. That's one. I did add another tool for web search in case I need the agent to look up the website logo, or sometimes the agent, like if I mistype the customer name or I need the name of the individual that was involved, but I don't have all the information. Maybe something's missing. So it can use some of the key terms and create a search query, look up the info. And lastly, of course, I did add Google Slide as well. So it can append a new slide to the deck that I've already shared with it. And it's all that went into creating this agent. I think my first version was ready within an hour or so of me deciding to do it on the platform. And with some more iteration, fine tuning, figuring how to tweak the, let's say, in this case, the top K results to ensure that the agent is looking through an entire knowledge base well enough to give me the right gist of the story and not just something from the first few passages itself. Or in the case of LLM models, here I had to maybe tweak up the temperature a bit. Point 0.5 was not functioning as smoothly as it did with 1. Um, that's all it went into this. With the playground, I could quickly go, like, easily keep on refining the instructions based on the results the agent was generating, and it's just that simple. That is basically the setup. The real time went into the fine tuning of the instruction set. The playground made that really simple. And this is just the current, like, maybe version 1 for me. I think it is working really well for the use case I started out with. As mentioned earlier, if I don't get any follow-up questions, this agent is giving the team exactly what they need. It's a big win. I do see this expanding into a larger use case where it can take in maybe more resources and answer questions better for whoever the end user is. In most cases, it would be people who are engaging with the customer, maybe the CS team, and so on and so forth. But at this point, I would really like to hear your feedback. And do you see this as a viable product? How would you have done this? What would you see this agent? What would you like an agent like this to solve for you? Really curious to hear your thoughts. Do let me know if you would like to see this tool for yourself or want to adapt it. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.